stuff done and much more about just your ability to stay focused for as long as you can. And both players are going, and let's see what they've got for us.
Frank going with some classic top-down play to start. I I don't think I favor either board early on. It's for these levels, it's just a question of minimizing drop time, playing as flat as you can.
Frank making a choice here to set up that horizontal on these reds. I think he's just going to go for the single horizontal. No, he's going to build up to it.
Oh, he's gonna nice
Wow.
tee into a double clear.
That had the potential to be disastrous because you never guaranteed any particular pill. So, you know, good RNG, but also just gutsy play from Frank, and he now has a 4 virus lead over Dawn. Although Dawn does have about a 2 second advantage due to when they started.
Yeah, but right now, I will say Frank is definitely in the lead because it takes more than 2 seconds to clear up 7 viruses most of the time, and it looks like there's a ton of blue that Don's gotta worry about right now.
And you see him skipping over that yellow because he needs this blue. Oh, doesn't use the blue yellow. I would have thought that would have been where he was planning. Looks like he's going to set up so that once he gets this double blue out of the way, he's going to be able to set up a horizontal yellow, or a horizontal red. And that's going to work out for him here in just a minute. But Frank
Yeah.
already out of level 10 and into his 11.
And Don's just got one more virus to worry about. 154 looks like out of 10, which is it is a good time, but you got to be great against Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank dealing with pills he doesn't like. Yellow, not a color that he's got any real use for right now. He's going to set up in that chasm for some horizontals. It'd be interesting to see if he gets them. Uh, yeah, he's setting up some stuff that I'm not following, so it's
Yeah,
going to be
he did
interesting.
not want to take those horizontal yellows because he wants these horizontal blues,
Yeah, setting up
and
for the triple there.
that double blue is exactly what he was waiting for.
Ooh, the better the players are, the harder it is to understand what the heck they're doing.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes a while to see what the more advanced players just seem to do naturally. But sometimes all you really have to do is to just look further down the board and see what's about to happen.
Yep. And what's happening right now on Don's side is he is catching up. It was for a second there just a 1 virus difference. And Frank, though, with a lot of setups, although that blue is very high up on his board, whereas Don doesn't really have anything that high, is going to get this cross clear and everything now free and clear for Don. 6 viruses to 3, but all but 2 of them doubled up.
Yeah, just a very squeaky clean end game. You saw Frank earlier take the drop time on that virus on the top of his board instead of saving it for last.
It gave him
That's
about
gonna
an 8 second advantage coming out.
Don quickly making up a lot of ground. I think Frank had 20 seconds on him coming out of 10, and that ground has been completely made up.
Wow, great play for Don there. As Frank looking at a lot of blue and
Yeah,
no access.
Once again,
Yeah,
Frank
no
does
access to
not
yellow.
have a lot of use for yellow.
Both trying to say the same thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
great minds think alike, right?
they do. I don't know how I fit into there, but there we go. All right, so yeah, Frank again now down to no yellow. He's having to deal with garbage, and that has given excuse me, that's given Dawn now a 9 virus advantage, although a couple of really good horizontals bring that down to just 5.
Yeah, I wonder if Frank wants to handle these reds. There it is, the horizontal play. Just perfect timing for the double red. Looks
Unfortunately,
like he's
didn't have it set
yeah,
up for the horizontal blue.
looks like he's telegraphing that he wants to handle this blue virus horizontally as well. And it looks like he just wants to get himself in a decent enough situation, not waiting for the perfect pills, but just taking the good ones, not letting the perfect be an enemy of the good, as it were.
But is this the board I this 12 end game for Dawn reminds me of one of the games I played yesterday. But yeah, he is going to get out of this level 12 first and into our final level of the block. Dawn, of course, the one seed for this tournament, meaning that his qualifier was the best of all that we saw. And man, look at all these double blues. If Don can get a run of double blue pills, there's a second one, there's a third one. It's going to be really good for him. Decides not to use it on the doubles over on the left hand side. I don't see that they're holding anything up, but there he is going to get it there.
It looks like he's just been waiting on that horizontal play, and he was trying to preserve it as best he could. Now that he's gotten it, he's free and clear once more. This is a really good time right now from Don.
And looking over at Frank, not a lot of red in the top of his board, now down to not a lot of blue. Um, wow, really good play there, dropping into the combo. And yeah, he's still about 10 viruses behind, but that's striking distance, especially if Don runs into some RNG that he doesn't like. But so far, not the case for Don, as the only real sticking point is how much yellow there is left on the board. But you see, it could be taken theoretically in a bunch of horizontals, and we'll see if he
Wow, from Frank,
decides.
pure red. That was a great play. But the gap has been pretty much maintained thus far with some pretty efficient play from Don.
Yeah, he's not got a lot of use for blue. And look at him, he's
Don's
setting up
fishing
for the
for the
fat
fat log.
log.
Here it comes.
All right, he just needs a red.
Double
Red
red,
yellow preference.
or he could also do it with a red blue,
Yeah,
but he's
literally any red.
not getting it just yet. All right, decides to. Ooh, very nice. And actually, that
Yeah.
sets up the double horizontal clear if he can take out that. Okay, he took out the blue virus, so that play is no longer on the table. But does a nice job clearing up the horizontal, and all he needs is one red and one yellow, or
Yeah,
two
but
yellows
Frank
really,
down to just needing two reds, and
and
he's gonna
he's
get it
got both of them on the
first.
same pill. And RNG just says no to Don.
Yeah, Frank out of an
4 second game. Wow.
Frank with an 802, Dawn out with an 806, and Frank with an epic comeback there in level 13. So Frank takes game number one, but we've still got, at minimum, two more games to go. So we'll see what they're going with that.
All right, we got a ready from Don for game two. And we got a ready
Here's
from
ready from
Frank.
Frank. And it's 3, 2, 1, and pills. Both players taking medium here. And I believe we're going to see high speed from both of the players in the other semifinal coming up in just a little bit. So interesting choices. It generally just means a different play style. Sometimes it just means who you got influenced by the most. Uh, I know that's kind of been affecting my play as well. But neither board terrible at the moment. Frank, I would say, would be worried about his access to yellow, but you can see he's setting up these blues for a horizontal. Um, Decides to just go ahead and pull the trigger, and now he's got access to a big bank of yellows down on the bottom. Meanwhile, looking over at Dawn's side, he's got a little bit of garbage on top of his board. Uh, Overall, though, color diversity not a major issue. Just has to get access to everything that he's working on.
Earlier on, Don had a horizontal play in which the optimal play would have been to get a double red, and he basically decided to cut bait, which is honestly not a bad idea because relying on the appearance of a double pill is a very inadvisable thing to do oftentimes. Early on, these boards seemed kind of early on. I actually was not a fan of these boards because there were very little opportunities for double clears. But so far, both characters, both players, managing to get through just fine.
Yeah, it is a three virus lead for Dawn at the moment, which is practically no lead at all at this point, especially Frank with some good setups. Dawn now to just down to just needing reds, which can be a terrible thing, can be a good thing. Frank going to get this blue first, though, and out at a 201. Dawn going to be right behind him at a 202.
Flat play for Frank to start off this level.
Yeah, it's not the best board to start with for Frank. Although I do like the setup that he's planning. A double yellow will give him a cross clear. A blue yellow will just get the horizontal, but yeah, at this point, you just want to get the clears and get out of here, and that is what he's doing. Don also looking at some massive horizontals, and oh man, just the ideas that he's thrown around. That's some deep second and third level play. But he would also like some double yellows.
I mean, Frank's got that chasm in column three, while Don still has a lot to play. Don still has something to play with in every column. It's a relatively flat board that's now become more of like a bowl shape, but he has a nice setup going on the bottom of his board. If he does get a double blue, or just get a couple of blue, and so he can just clean that out really easily.
Yep. And here comes
Here it
that
comes.
blue that he's looking for. Nice clear. Oh, but those that stack on 8, it's a pretty high stack. Um, he's getting through it pretty easily though. And we'll see what the doctor orders. Ugh, double yellows right when he doesn't want them. And Frank out again early at 349. I say early as in earlier than Dawn. Uh, Dawn out at a 354. And so again, just a few seconds difference, not really much of anything at this point.
I think Don meant to put that red blue over there in column four. I think he wanted to start going for the fat log, and once he realized he made that mistake, he just decided to go for the horizontal clear instead. Now
Yeah.
here we go. Just like that, he's all pretty much all cleaned up.
Yep. And again, we're seeing just a slight lead for Dawn. In at the very beginning of the board, that's another one I think though that he flipped a way he did not intend to.
Yeah,
So it's a little more cleanup.
and the costly part about that is that now you got a right hand side of the field that's all blue on the top line.
Yeah, even the garbage is blue, and that's not helpful.
Maybe
So
he's
it looks like he's
telegraphing here that he might want to horizontal these two blues up top.
seems to be the case.
But the doc still has to give him blue, or else there's nothing you can do with it.
Yep. All right, now he really wants. Well, I was gonna say he really wants a blue red, but it came one pill too late, and now we've got Frank again taking the lead. Now by 10 viruses, as Don getting hamstrung by lack of blue or lack of blues.
Drop combo there, though. I mean, he's hardly gotten any blue. So part of it is that error he made on the right hand side of his board that gave him a pure blue top line, and part of it is just the doctor not giving him any blues whatsoever.
Yeah, uncomfortable set of RNG. Gotta wonder if the next double blue he gets, as we see Frank out at a 553, Okay, yeah, he's. I was wondering if he was going to put that down on columns 5 and 6, but decides to just build the horizontal using two pieces instead of one, and now I'll need some red. Meanwhile, Frank already making mincemeat out of the top of this level 13. This is going to be. This has the potential to be a
Ooh,
really good time for him. Wow.
yeah, Frank is tearing through this 13 like crazy. He's got a lot of double clear opportunities, and he's getting all of them.
Here comes Don out of 12 at a 636 as he gets the double blue that he needed. And nothing to do with that red blue to start. Not the first thing you want to see. Although smart plays, now he's limiting his garbage. Uh, this is going to reduce it to 0. So good play for Don as Frank needs some red and is just not getting it.
Looking at Don's board, okay, he's got a nice Elia over here. He's got a lot of red on the left-hand side of his board, almost as numerous as the blue from the previous level, but a slew of double reds, and he's pretty much taken care of that already.
Yeah, now a 16 virus difference between our two players, and Frank with another couple of massive clears to make it a 19. Frank looking to take game number 2 and get himself into an elimination match or elimination game for this game 3. Is going to just need a couple of blues and a couple of reds to get that done. There's the reds, there's the blues, sees the red, and is going to be out at a 7:55. That's a great 8 to 11 time, or a solid 8 to 11 time. And for 10 to 13, doesn't even crack the top 20. Didn't figure, but it's still a really good time.
And now Don, and trying to top out, has to deal with a little drop time. He decides he's just going to let it go for a minute. Yeah, that tough level 12 is likely what did Don in right there. Plus, and then Frank got a great level 13 and just broke through. We have a ready from Frank and a ready from Don.
All right, game
We got
3.
a 3, 2, 1. Pills.
Frank looking for one win to secure his way back into the finals. Dawn looking for a reverse sweep at this point. Still plenty of Dr. Mario to play, and it's starting with this level 10. And I've been watching Frank. I don't love his board. Specifically, just don't love the pill set that he's getting because it is not helpful at all. It seems
Yeah.
like every time he stops needing a specific pill, that's what he gets.
Looking over at Don's board, he needs red and he needs it yesterday. And the doc is just has just not been giving it to him.
Yeah, that red blitz is coming, right? It's in the mail.
You gotta
It's
believe it's
early.
coming. I always know it's coming.
The red blitz is always on its way. You never know when. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. So cross clear, going to be good there for Dawn. He is within 4 viruses of Frank, and this horizontal going to be good to kind of move in the right direction. The red's starting to show up. It was not a red blitz there, but still, some reds. And that's probably good for Dawn because he no longer needs that much red. Frank, on the other hand, definitely
Don,
needs some.
yeah. Don had a pretty nice drop combo earlier on the right hand side of his board, dropping a couple of reds onto a yellow clear. That's got him into the lead, and now it's tied up again. Both racers pretty much keeping up with each other so far.
Dawn with a horizontal option here on these double blues at the bottom, and it's going to go ahead and get that, get the double blue, get the red right after. This is good for him. It's a 154. Frank just needs two more yellow to join him. There's one, there's two, and 203. So about 9 second difference between these two as they exit the first level.
And 9 seconds does not take long to make up. But right now, looking at Don's board, those red blues, he really doesn't need those right now, and he's getting them
Getting
in
them.
fairly large quantity right now, which is a little concerning. Looks like a miniature double yellow rush here. Looks like he's telegraphing that he really wants to take out those blues horizontally.
I mean, at this point, what else can you do? Get it
There we
done.
go.
There it is. And look at this triple to follow. He's going to just drop all his garbage down. And, there's a time where that's just the strat. You go, oh, well, there's garbage, but at this point, I'm better off not dealing with it and focusing on actually working through my board. And that is what Don has been doing. Meanwhile, Frank looks like he had a misdrop over on 7-8. I did not see it happen, but that red yellow couldn't have been the direction that he was planning on going with it. It's kind of rare to see a misdrop in Frank's play,
Yeah,
but it does
looking at
happen.
looking at Don's board right now, that yellow blue that he dropped in column 3 looked like it might have been a misdrop because it looks like he's been trying to clear out these yellows horizontally. Now his board's looking a lot better, just the question of how he's gonna tackle everything on the right-hand side. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that
look
blue's
too
going horizontal.
unmanageable.
So you got to wonder, blue yellow seems the likeliest. Yep, there he goes. And gets a red blue. Oh, this is good for Don. Uh, is going to plan on taking the yellow horizontally. All right. But it is Frank out first at a 357 as Don is waiting for two yellows.
And there they are. Gonna be out at a 403, so right behind him once more.
Yep. So 6 seconds, that makes what, about a 12-second swing between these two in that level 11. But man, opportunities galore for Don. If he gets a double yellow here, it's going to be real nice for him. Uh, let's see. Yeah, he sees that play, and now, gosh, he's trying not to make too much garbage for himself. He's
He
already going to have some garbage, but
he
needs a
would
double
like to
yellow.
see a double yellow, but a red yellow also works here. Here we go.
Here it is. Wow. And the wait time though, that has put him behind by about 9 viruses to Frank, who still has a pretty high board, all things considered. And we'll see if that ends up making a difference as well. Now, Frank has knocked that board down, so I guess it didn't make a difference at all. There we go. We have seen
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, I mean, everything changes so quickly on Frank's board. He doesn't have much of anything to work with as far as blues are concerned, which may not be too big a deal as blues are technically the most rare color that shows up in the pills, but they do show up with fair frequency. But right now, Frank has recovered some of the color diversity on his board. There's just a couple of red stragglers on the left hand or the right hand side that might become an issue. You get the sense maybe he was trying for a fat log for a moment, but oh, this double red will be perfect to tackle the right hand side.
Don uh, had the opportunity for a fat log there. The original setups weren't there. He decided not to go for the swag, as we see Frank out at a 605. Uh, Don made the right choice, and then the pills did come for him. So out at a 609, and that's not the sort of play you look back on and go, oh, why didn't I do that? But man, it's one of those that you wish hadn't happened the way it did.
See how Frank tries to tackle this. Looks like he's just going to keep it vertical instead of trying to get the horizontal clear on the blue virus in column 3. Frank's board, there's just those couple of mini spires on columns 3 and 5, and that's going to take one of them down really quick.
And meanwhile, Don's got horizontal opportunities out the wazoo. They're not particularly easy to get to, but You gotta think that's coming up in his mind right now. Is gotta get these horizontals, get the blue, get all these blue pills out of the way to get that red, and then more red. It's there. It's just a matter of does he see it and does he want it?
Right now, he's down by 9, and the right-hand side of his board is probably the biggest pressure point right now. And that blue fragment that drops into column 3 blocks him off from the horizontal, which he opens up instead on column 7.
On now has worked it down to just a 4, now a 6 virus deficit. He is playing for his life here. If Frank can get out of this board before Don does, then it will be Frank in our finals. Don trying his hardest to keep that from happening. Now 8-14. Both players down to their end games. Frank definitely with a better setup, but you can see how dependent it all is on blue. So the question is going to be, is he going to be able to get what he needs? Going to get this blue. Now any red will do the trick, and that will be it for Frank. There it is, out at an 809, and Frank is our first player punching his tickets in to the finals coming up here a little bit later today.
GG's to both players. Don has done aside from a brutal level 12 in game 2, I think it was, he did very well to keep up with Frank for as long as he did.
Yeah, Don, I believe, was last year, the year before. I think it was the year before he was our most improved player and has not stopped improving. We've seen his game really elevate this year, and man, it's tough to see him take this L, but GG's to Don and GG's to Frank getting into his finals again after about an 8 month, uh, after missing it for about 8 months.